guys, I'm going to scrapbook this picture today using this sketch, which is from scrapbooksuppliesonline.com's July challenge, their layout challenge, and it calls for a large top note shape, or I guess you could replace it with any shape. It's been a really long time since I've used a top note, so I pulled out my Nestabilities dies in order to use that shape again. And I'm just looking through my SoCal kit, which is the July Studio Calico kit. I also have the Newport um, add-on, and so I'm just looking through some of the scraps and trying to pick out a background paper. I went with that paper by Tim and Beck for Studio Calico, that yellow paper. It looks like fabric with some patterns for making a dress already kind of on it. It's really, really cool, and it looks all wrinkly already, and I really, really love it. It's my favorite paper in the whole kit. So I'm going to be doing the die cut piece on top of it, and I've picked out that wood grain textured, I guess it's embossed paper. Studio Calico says that it's by LCI. I don't know what company that is, but I'm just running it through my grand caliper there. I only use my grand caliper for my largest dies. I usually run my dies, even my nestabilities, through my Big Shot, just because it's always out on my table and it's convenient. I'm just running that Tim Holtz distressing tool around both the top note shape and the main background paper. That background paper already looks like it's crumpled up fabric, and so it's got a real shabby look to it. So I wanted to, and there I am, I'm crinkling it up. Just to kind of add to the texture that's already printed on the paper. And now I'm just putting a white piece of cardstock behind that paper just to make it a bit more firm. When I crinkle my paper, I like to put it on a piece of cardstock, and I just didn't do a good job of lining it up, so I'm just cutting off the edges there so that you can't see the white overhanging, and then my cat is having some fun with those little strips. And now that is Broken China Distress ink that I'm using. At first I'm applying it with the blending tool, and it looked nice that way, but I wanted something kind of bolder that would really bring out the wood grain pattern. So I just used direct pad to paper method for inking that. And it's very blotchy looking, you'll see, but I'm going to end up covering up most of it, so I'm not too concerned about the blotchiness. And now I'm using that green paper that is from the Pretty Party collection by Crate Paper. And I'm just cutting off the borders. My daughter was there saying, "Why are you cutting off all the pretty parts?" um, and so I just created a mat for my photo with that. And I'm just using some of that Stampin' Up! Paper behind my outlining just because it's a new craft mat that I have there. And I don't want it covered with marks like my other one was. So eventually it'll be covered with marks, but for now I'm using some paper when I do stamping and outlining on it. And I'm going to be using Cat Scrappiness's felt clouds on this layout, and it'll take me a while to decide on the placement of it, but I'm going to use those. And I'm also going to use that Heidi Swap fringe ruffled border trim, whatever that stuff is called. It also came in the Studio Calico kit. And now I'm going into my own supplies and I'm looking for some thickers. And I kind of forgot about the orange letter stickers that came with the kit. I would have liked to have used those on this, but they were over in another part of my craft room and I forgot about them. So I picked out some whites, some grays, some pinks, and a wood grain, but I'm not going to use all of those. I definitely wanted to use the pink, so I made that be the word go for my title because she's wearing a pink. She's actually wearing a really fancy ball gown on her scooter, and so I wanted to pick up on the pink in her dress. And now I'm looking for some blue letters because that top note shape is blue, and I'm very aware of the high contrast between that blue and yellow, and I want to bring some blue into other places of the layout. And so I go with yellow for the word places because yellow is one of my favorite colors these days. So I'm just kind of deciding on placement there, and then I decide to put the "You'll Go" at the bottom on a separate die cut, I decided. And then I wanted to use that really fun Amy Tangerine journal font for the word O. And then I'm going to put in some of those blue Lily Bee Design font letter stickers for the word the. And now all I need is the word Yule, which I will wait until I figured out what die cut I want to use. So I'm just going to put those letter stickers in place, and I was going to move the L, and in the process of doing that I ripped it, so I just used some glue to fix it up. Decided to leave it there instead. It's really hard to move. Even thickers are hard to move on photos, so I shouldn't have even bothered trying that. But then I'm adding the comma to the O, and now I'm going to put some of these things down now that I've figured out placement of most of the items. I'm going to start putting them down. And I pushed everything up to the far right hand side for this one. And now I'm going to find some border stickers from my Jetmax cubes. I keep all my border stickers in one drawer, and so I just pulled out almost all of them here. And there's also a couple of Amy Tangerine, the little manufacturer strips from those papers. I only keep those if I really, really love them. But I do love the Amy Tan ones, so I took a couple of those, and that nice blue icon people strip looks really great with the top note blue shape. So then I went into the SoCal kit to get that orange colored pinked circle that I'm going to put the words "you'll go" on. And now I'm kind of just trying to decide on clouds, and the clouds were a little bit challenging for me. I was trying to layer a bunch of clouds that were basically the exact same shape, which is really hard. It's always easier to do layering when you've got things that are different sizes, even if they were the same shape, but if they were different sizes, it would have been easier. So I decided to take a break from that because it was too tricky, and I decided to work on that little die cut. So I'm basically creating an embellishment here. I'm going to outline the pinked circle with my pen. I think I'm using the 0.08 tip there because I wanted it to be fairly bold. And then I'm going to tape on a piece of twine to the back, and you'll see that this is actually my second time doing this. The first time I just wanted to make sure it was going to work out. It has to have an even number of pinks in order for this to work out evenly. And I didn't want to count them all, so I just tried it. And now I'm learning here that putting thickers over twine is really challenging. But with a little bit of Tombow mono multi, or whatever you call that stuff, in the green and white bottle, it does stick quite well. It just takes some patience to kind of get it stuck. So now I have the word go, and all I need is the word Yule, and I think I'm going to get my letter stickers right now. Yep, my tiny letter stickers. So I'm pretty sure I want these stickers to be blue, but I'm gonna have a little search through my letters and see what I can come up with. And I was gonna go with those Cosmo Cricket square blue ones, and then I remembered I had these Jelly Bean Soup ones, which are a nice navy blue, and I thought they'd look good. So I don't know what I'm waiting for here. There we go. Now I'm gonna work backwards on this letter, on this word, because I knew where I wanted it to end. There. And then I'm going to straighten it out a little bit, and I'm going to have to add some glue to some of those as well. And so I'm using my glue pen here just because it gives a smaller amount. The Tombow was seeping out the sides of the thickers, and these are even smaller. So I go a little bit heavy-handed on the glue, so I always have to be careful with the Tombow. But the glue pen is a lot easier. It's liquid and it dries a little bit less obvious. If it does leak out a little bit when it dries, it's not quite so obvious that you've got a glue glob there. Now I'm going to stitch over both of those Amy Tangerine borders, and I only used a tiny bit of adhesive on those. I do sew through adhesive. I know you're not supposed to, but I just try to remember to clean out your needle gets really goopy, and I suppose if you didn't clean your needle really often, the goopiness would probably get inside of your machine, so you got to be careful about that. I wouldn't recommend sewing over adhesive on a fancy machine for sure. So I just used my tiny attacher to put that Heidi Swap fringe on, and then I glued down the fringes that would be under that die cut just so that the die cut would sit flat. And I'm really liking how this is, I'm just fringing up the fringe a little bit, and I'm liking how this is turning out. And I really wanted that ABC border because it's a preschool graduation. You know, they learn their ABCs. Also, the map paper on the fringe was really important to me because it's kind of fits with the oh, the places you'll go theme. And so here you'll notice that the sketch calls for a little flag on the side there. And here I kind of flirted with the idea of putting in the flag, and then I said, oh no, I'm not going to do that. So I used that space for journaling instead. Basically, the pin that I had a Stampin' Up! Hat pin. It wasn't long enough anyways, and I thought that would be a little bit too busy. So it turns out it was good that it didn't fit because I like it better without, I think. You don't have to stick to all of the elements in a sketch when you're using a sketch. You can just kind of take what you like from it and leave the rest, or take what works for your layout and leave the rest. So here I am back to fussing with those clouds again, having a really hard time. I find clustering flowers equally difficult. And here I knew that I needed some different size clouds, and all I had was rub-ons. Now the problem with these rub-ons is that they're flat-bottomed clouds, and so they don't really look great with fluffy-bottomed clouds, if you know what I mean. And so I decided against those. And so here I'm just stamping those clouds to give them a little bit more interest. And I had in the back of my mind that I knew that some of those sassafras stickers had some clouds on it. I didn't check, but I kind of had a feeling. And so, but I knew that they had kind of graph paper and that sort of thing on them. So I thought if I'm going to be mixing sassafras cloud stickers with these clouds, they would mix a little bit better if I put some geometric designs on the felt clouds. So that was my thinking there. And I wanted to do it in a variety of different colors just so that, and at first that yellow one didn't come out strong enough, so that's why I re-inked it and tried it in a brighter color. So just cleaning up my stamps and putting them away, and now, oh, I was going to do another one and then I decided against it. And now there's one of those sassafras clouds. I knew I had a couple of them kicking around. And then there's another one that I'm actually not going to use, but I tried to figure out where I'd place it, and then I realized that that orange one would provide a bit more contrast than the blue one, because the blue one was being layered on top of the blue top note. So again, I'm not happy with any of these layers, but it's getting close. Closer, and there we go. That I like. So now I'm going to pop dot some of those because they're sort of layered over top of each other, so I want some pop dots to help with that process. I'm using two different sizes. The Stampin' Up! Ones are half the width of most pop dots, so I use some cheap strips of adhesive foam for some of it, and then Stampin' Up! Those hexagon Stampin' Up! Ones for the rest of it. And now I'm just doing my final touches on this one. Put an orange outline around that sunburst with the heart in the center. Now I'm just looking through my markers when you see me reach across there. Then I got another orange. I needed an orange marker that would be okay on slick surfaces, so that's my Stettler orange pen for that. And then I just took my brown Zig Writer and outlined that orange sassafras cloud. Really quick close up there because I ended up adding more, so I do another close-up later, don't worry. And so then I decide to add some of these buttons. They're from the My Mind's Eye decorative buttons from Follow Your Heart, and they also came in the SoCal kit. And I'm going to sew those in place using twine from the kit, the leftover twine from the pinked circle. And I'm going through the holes twice just because I wanted to. Just to fill up the holes a little bit more. I don't always do that, but yeah, I just wanted to look nice and full. And it's tricky sewing through so many layers, including felt, um, but it came together pretty surprisingly easy. I'm always lazy about my buttons. I'd rather glue buttons on than sew them on, but I thought for this layout I really wanted to take the time to do the sewing. And just when you thought I was done, I'm going to add the date stamp. That's a Dear Lizzie roller stamp that came in, I think it was the March Studio Calico kit. I love that one. It says special day, June 25th. So there's a close-up of that cluster of clouds and of that cluster of clouds and then of the fringe with the borders and the title. So thanks so much for watching, guys. This one took about 108 minutes, I think it took. So not so bad. Thanks for watching.